Hey guys, Foxdrop here, welcome back to another League of Legends video. Preseason 10 is in full swing and there's been a lot of changes to the old jingle jangle. That means the best junglers have also changed. Today I'm going to be showing you who's hot and how to play them. Before we get started, I want to do a little bit of a cop-out for this video. I've consulted with loads of different high elo and pro junglers to get their opinions on the new patch, both in how the jungle role should be played and what junglers are the best. And the weird thing is, no one can really agree on anything, which is absolutely fantastic for someone like me who just wants to make a top junglers video. Just kidding, it sucks. None of the champions I'll be showing today are bad in any way, so don't worry, it's just things might evolve a bit as people get more experience on this patch. I'll be doing some gameplay guides as well of all the champions featured on this list, so keep your eyes peeled on the channel to see that. I'll try to remember to link them in the description of this video too, but I'll probably forget, so sorry in advance for that. Oh yeah, and I also plan on doing one going over the general playstyles for jungle once all the dust has settled as well. Alrighty, getting started here at number 7, we got Dr. Mundo. Mundo boasts some of the fastest clear speeds in the game, is very strong in the 1v1 against the enemy jungler, is decent at taking objectives, and can have gank impact thanks to his cleaver. He's kind of the all-round package in a sense, his biggest weakness being his lack of mobility, and his only CC being his Q, which is unreliable at best. Mundo jungle wants to focus mostly on farming since it's a good way to pull ahead of the enemy jungler with how fast he does it. There's a good chance your opposite number won't be able to match you with what you're putting out. Start with your W at level 1 on the chicken, solo that, then work your way down to the red and the Krugs. Recall, go blue side jungle, keep farming. Thanks to that early recall, you should have got enough health back that you'll be able to fight the enemy jungler at the crab and have that health advantage. Always keep your eyes peeled on grievous wounds effects on the enemy team, whether that's ignites, Murlocs, executioners, or champion abilities like Kled's Q, Varus's E. Mundo relies a lot on his tankiness and relies on his ultimate for that tankiness, and if you're getting that cut in half with grievous wounds, well, that really sucks. Apart from that, as long as you're running down the enemy team, you'll be a pro on Mundo. Seriously, he's really not hard to play at all. You got this. At number 6, we had the blind monk Lee Sin, one of my personal favorite junglers purely because of how fun he is to play. Lee Sin's always viable in one way or another in League of Legends. I spam this guy constantly when I'm streaming and never really get bored of him, and that's a pretty good thing right now because he's in a great spot as far as the meta goes. Lee Sin is one of the most versatile champions in the entire game. He'll always find a way to contribute. He's got decent jungle clears, early pressure in both ganks and 1v1s, decent objective control, and whereas he does fall off as a carry threat as the game goes on, he still has almost unlimited playmaking potential. The big downside to Lee Sin is that you need a lot of experience with him to make him work. His learning curve is kind of steep compared to most other junglers, and it's one of the reasons he's not higher on this list. He's also one of the more punishing champions to play when you're behind the enemy team, because you'll have to shift your playstyle to almost exclusively protecting your team's carries, rather than looking for the big juicy plays yourself. As a versatile champion though, Lee Sin isn't restricted to any certain type of play. So if you prefer to farm early, or you're more of the ham type, both of that is cool. Whatever tickles your fancy, Lee Sin's got you covered. Keep your eyes peeled on the minimap for good gank opportunities, but if you find yourself farming till 6, it's not terrible either. Once you get your ulti, you unlock the ability to kick people in the dick. A good ward hot flash ult can secure a kill in almost any lane, and your ulti also makes you win most 1v1 jungle matchups. The new Conqueror also seems to be pretty strong, and Lee Sin is a good user of that room. If you're looking to get better at Lee Sin, the best way to do that is just to play him a lot. I'd also recommend watching streams or videos to pick up how the streamers and video makers play. I actually do know this really cool dude, plays a lot of Lee Sin, he's called Foxdrop, terribly handsome fellow, great gameplay, and of course extremely humble. But seriously, if you are new here to this channel and you do enjoy this video and you want to see more, or you want to see me play some games, please do subscribe, stick around, we would love to have you here. I also stream daily on fb.gg/FoxdropLol. Enough of Lee Sin. Number 5, we have Echo. I feel like he's been talked about a lot before, especially pre-Worlds. What's that word again for when you say something and then you can like hear it again? Can't quite remember. This guy's the most banned jungler in the world right now. Korea especially has a massive hate boner for Echo, probably because in good hands, he's an absolute terror to play against. Echo does absolutely mad damage and has really solid jungle clears. This allows him to outpace most other junglers in the game and transition into a scary assassin threat come mid game. After level 3, he can gank a lot as well, but that's easier to do in lanes that have some form of setup because your W isn't the easiest ability to hit in a gank. It does take a lot of practice, which is a good summary of this champion in general really, because whereas he isn't quite Lee Sin tiers of difficulty, he still has a fair few unique mechanics that will take some getting used to, the difference of which truly separates the good echoes from the great. He can struggle a bit in the early game against aggressive junglers, some of which appear in this video, so you have to be careful against the bullies trying to take your lunch money. But if you get past that point, you don't really have any bad matchups, and if you find a way to get ahead early, which honestly isn't even really that hard, you can pop off pretty hard. As an AP champion, he has the added benefit of being able to compensate for any lack of magic damage on your team. For example, if you're mid locked Zed and your top locked Yasuo, and for some godforsaken reason, you didn't dodge that lobby. Final thing to say about Echo is to address his objective control. He's actually not that bad at all things considered. Despite not being AD and therefore not having powerful auto attacks and not having much damage mitigation, his passive does deal double damage to monsters, and when the target's below 30% health, his W kicks in and gives you a real damage boost on those autos. So yeah, not bad on that front either, but definitely far from the best. Recklessly swinging in at number 4 is Olaf. This guy is such a knob to play against in solo queue. Seriously, if you get caught in his queue and don't have any escapes up, you're toast. Especially with the new Conqueror working so well on him, even tanky targets can't escape Olaf. So I guess it's the first reason he's on this list. His 1v1s are nutty, absolutely bonkers. The pressure a good Olaf can put out in the early game is beyond compare, assuming enemy laners don't come to ruin your day. It's mostly because his damage is so damn high thanks to his Q spam, and that's something that you can use for fast jungle clears as well. Two things that the current jungle meta really values are things that Olaf excels at. One weakness of Olaf, however, are his jungle clears. Yeah, I know I just hyped them up and said they're amazing, and that's still true, they are. At least as far as speed goes. You see, Olaf passive gives him more attack speed the lower health he's on, and his W heals some more if he's low too. Combined with the lifesteal you already get from that W, you essentially become a bearded Warwick. And the thing is, as you might have picked up, this only kicks in when you're low on health, and running around your jungle constantly on 30% HP is like mulling about a recently abandoned kennel with your wang out. It's risky at best. Another weakness of Olaf is how hard he falls off. He doesn't really do much later on into the game, and the more grouped up the opponents are, the harder it is for him to do his thing. He more than makes up for it with his early game, but it's definitely not pretty if you can't use that pressure to close games out. Assuming everything goes well though, you can dominate the early game and secure all the objectives while also keeping the enemy jungler down. Numero 3, Nidalee. You know everything I said about Olaf? Well, apply that, but take away the falling off part. I mean, Nidalee still falls off, but she can still be useful either as a high damage assassin or heal bot support, especially if you buy Athenes. The real distinction between Nidalee and Olaf is how hard they are to play, and to an extent what plays they are capable of making. You see, Nidalee has skill shots and is a squishy mage that also needs to jump in to be played properly. You can see how that makes a recipe for disaster with less experienced Nidalee players. But she also has a higher upside for making big plays. The fact she can jump over walls, pounce and mark targets from really far away, and reset with heals means she can get away with a lot of stuff. She's very much like Lee Sin in that regard. I guess it's kind of hard to emphasize the value of being able to do this kind of thing, but I suppose a good way to put it is like this. If I were to play against a challenger Smurf in my game, what jungler would I 100% not want them to pick? It would be Nidalee. Practice makes perfect with this champion. She also has some unique strategies for clearing the jungle early game with her traps. You can just Google that stuff though, shouldn't be too hard to find. High Elo especially has seen quite a few more Nidalees since the Season 10 patch. She's always good in solo queue and is a great one-trick champion, but being able to clear quickly and bully the enemy jungler nowadays means you'll be in a good spot to take over the entire early game, and from that, the objectives, which are of course all the rage right now. Number 2 on this list, I really can't believe I'm saying this, but it's Warwick. Feels weird to say that out loud. Okay, I know there are a bunch of you guys that love this champion, have played him since his inception, and finally feel vindicated that your fluffy dog man is considered OP. And yeah, sure, Warwick has always been a good jungle choice for solo queue. He's someone that I consistently recommend to people for an easy jungler to pick up, whether you're new to the jungle or just want a reliable pick to carry you in ranked. The problem with Warwick, and the reason why you don't see him in pro play or see him very highly in tier lists, is that he's got quite a binary playstyle. Warwick does Warwick things, and that's not particularly a wide scope. You guys know what I mean? He runs at you, slaps you about, he heals, that's kind of that. Well, right now, it just so happens that that kind of thing is in. Warwick is the best jungler statistically in solo queue and definitely worth picking up. There are a few reasons why he's popping off right now. Firstly, obviously Warwick is the king of objectives. Dragon and Herald are no match for this furry little bugger. Likewise for enemy junglers, he doesn't tend to run into enemy junglers that can punish him out of his jungle and keep him from doing his stuff. Another reason as well might be the change to jungle experience, with Gromp being a viable choice now and Karthus not being the go-to priority camp. Warwick can diversify his paths and, more importantly, focus on single target camps instead of being forced into AoE camps, which he really sucks at before he gets his tier map. Whatever the reason might be, Warwick is right at the top of this list for good reason, even if you might not see him in your favorite streamers challenger games. And lastly, the king of today's video, Karthus. Out of all the discerning opinions I ran into trying to get info for this video, one thing was common. Karthus is busted. Ironically, statistically, he's not really that impressive, but Karthus seems to be going on a tear in high elo, at least in EU. Few farm the jungle as fast as Karthus does, so he makes great use of the new jungle spawn timers. His 1v1s are surprisingly good if you can hit your Qs. That is harder than it sounds, but still. And he can spam his Q, so it also makes for a good dragon taker. Few things are as valuable to a jungler as the ability to be in the right place at the right time. It's a skill that's hard to acquire, it's hard to teach or explain, and absolutely makes or breaks your success as a jungler overall. Being able to influence those close fights, turn them into your favor, can be the difference between going down 1 or 2 kills and instead being up. As Karthus, however, you are constantly in the right place at the right time as long as your ultimate is off cooldown. It's pretty disgusting. He's also the strongest AP carry that you can play in the jungle. As far as pure carry threat goes, you don't often get more damage than a Karthus. If you don't finish top 2 in damage in your team each game, then you're probably AFK or disconnected at some point. I actually almost won a 4v5 in ranked this preseason because he's just that broken. I was playing on NA as well, where my ping makes it really hard to hit my Q. Well, that was my excuse. I don't hit them in the US either, but you know. All in all, Karthus is the complete package, and that's why he's number 1 on this list. Okay, so that's the top 7, but as I mentioned right at the beginning of the video, there's a lot of different opinions, so I want to chuck in some honorable mentions right here. Tanks that use new Aftershock and can clear the jungle fast are pretty good, so Zac, Sejuani, and Nunu, all good examples. The latter of those 3 is kind of like a tanky Warwick, and actually has very high win rates in solo queue as well. But he was also like that before the preseason, so it's unclear what's the new jungle and what's just Nunu being Nunu. Sanguine Blade is a really busted item now as well, and the best abusers of that are quite strong. Nocturne, Graves, Rengar for junglers are most compatible with this abomination of an item, but I didn't want to include them in the top 7 because the item just got hotfix nerfed, so I want to see the dust settle a little bit. Nocturne especially seems to be rated quite highly by a fair few people. And lastly, some generic choices, Kha'Zix, Udyr, and Hecarim. All either good farmers, good early game presser champions, good objective takers, or a mix of the lot. Basically, I don't bloody know what's going on. Everything's strong, play what you want and have some fun. But that just about does it. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to give me a cheeky thumbs up and subscribe to me for more League of Legends videos. So this one's pretty wishy-washy. I'll update it when things are more well known, but that's just how it is in the preseason, I suppose. Love you all, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in my next